typical revolver, and we check it here and make sure it's unloaded. The typical revolver may be fired in two ways. One is single action, where you roll the hammer back and they now have a very short trigger pull, and this is used for aimed shots, target work, or longer range shots where accuracy is the most important factor. The second way the gun may be fired is what is called double action. And double action, the hammer is moved back to the cock position by pulling the trigger finger and thusly, and each time you do that you release, and then you can do it again and again and again very rapidly. However, you will notice that as the trigger pull is pulled, the barrel is moving. This type of fire is used for close-in, rapid fire, but is costly in terms of long-range accuracy. Also, the trigger pull is fairly hard and might give some people difficulty. As you have seen, single action trigger pull provides for accurate fire, but generally at a slower rate. Double action pull provides rapidity, but at the cost of accuracy. A system which provides a short trigger pull with rapid fire capability would appear to be highly desirable. The following system, called automatic action, accomplishes that goal. By utilizing a few thousandths of an inch of the instantaneous rearward movement of the cartridge case at firing, the hammer is pushed to the cock position. Here is an explanation of how automatic action works. Figure 1 depicts the hammer 5 in contact with the firing pin 33. The cylinder 4 is locked by the cylinder stop 26. When the hammer fell, in addition to firing the cartridge, it pushed the disconnector 17 to the down position. This disconnector movement simultaneously accomplished three things. 1. It disconnected the sear 20 from the trigger 6, even when the trigger is still being held down. 2. It positioned the disconnector to be ready to unlock the cylinder stop when the rotator 14 moves up. 3. It repositioned the rotator to be ready to move up and move the next cartridge into position. Figure 2 depicts the hammer in the cock position after just firing the cartridge 27. The hammer was driven to this position by the rearward movement of the cartridge case, right here. The case movement was transmitted to the hammer by the recoil plug 36. The hammer is retained by the disconnected sear. You really can't see that, but it's retained right in here. Figure 2 also shows the rotator spring 13 in the compressed mode, having been compressed by the cocking of the hammer. As the hammer came up, it pressed this spring into a short position. With the hammer being retained at cock, the rotator spring will decompress and drive the disconnector and rotator upwards, unlocking the cylinder stop at this point and rotating the cylinder to the next cartridge. The use of the spring in here provides a time lag in the rotation of the cylinder and acts as a shock absorber to the system. With the release of the finger pressure on the trigger, the sear will be re-engaged and ready for the next shot. The rest of the cartridges may be fired as quickly as desired, with typical semi-automatic trigger finger movement. Without the disconnector, the whole cylinder would fire as a machine gun. Figure 8 shows a detailed view of the hammer disconnector rotator mechanism. The spring guide 11 right here pushes up on the rotator when the hammer pin compresses the spring. Thus, when the hammer goes up, the spring is compressed and the rotator will follow. When the spring or the hammer pin is falling, it pushes the disconnector down to the lower position. Figure 9 then shows the lower position where the disconnector pushes the latch off of the sear, and then when the trigger is released, there's a little spring right in here and it pushes the latch back up, and then of course the process is repeated. We will now move on and see a firing demonstration. For this demonstration, a standard 38 Special Smith & Wesson revolver has been modified to produce automatic action. The first round we're going to shoot is a 158 grain standard lead bullet at around 850 feet per second. The second bullet is a 110 jacketed high velocity bullet at around 1100 feet per second. Things to note are the finger trigger pull and the location of the hammer after each shot, and very little recoil. The third cartridge is a target cartridge. It's a 147 grain wad cutter, very slow, like 750 feet per second. We'll now try a little rapid fire. You might see if you can count the number of shots. The last sequence will be 2 rounds of each kind of bullet, rapid fire.